Hello everyone, Advocate of Pants here, with the final episode of Pokemon Red version. Last time we finished the story mode off by taking on the Elite Four and the Champion. So we are the strongest trainer of the Kanto region now, and that leaves us with one last thing to do. However, if you're playing Fire Red or Leaf Green, you have at least a couple things you can do. And one of those things is what I am about to show off here. But the other is something exclusive to the remakes. It's actually the second half of something that you could have started during the story mode. That being the Sevi Islands. During the story mode in Fire Red or Leaf Green, you get to Cinnabar Island, meet up with Celio in the Pokemon Center, as well as Bill, and they take you to one island, and that kicks off the first half of the Sevi Islands. You get a pass that lets you travel between one island, two island, and three islands. And while there, you do a quest, you find a Ruby and a Sapphire, you take them back to Celio on the One Island Pokemon Center. He puts them in a machine, and that lets you trade between Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald, and Fire Red or Leaf Green. And upon doing so for the first time, that unlocks the National Pokedex in Ruby, Sapphire, or Emerald, and if I remember correctly, it unlocks the National mode of the Pokedex in Fire Red and Leaf Green as well. But for certain, one island in the remakes is where Moltres is obtained, as I mentioned when we are actually fighting Moltres in Victory Road. And from there, after beating the story mode in Fire Red and Leaf Green only, you can then go back to Vermilion, go back to One Island, and do a few more quests on the other islands. You get a pass that's good for traveling to 4, 5, 6, and 7 islands. And the only major thing out of those is on 5 Island, there's a Team Rocket warehouse, just kind of a foreshadowing to the events of scene in Heart Gold and Soul Silver that was locked behind a Celebi that was only given out as a mystery gift at Toys R Us around the tail end of Generation 4. And if you've never had a chance to actually see that event or whatever, you could look it up. But if you were able to get that event when it happened, it was pretty cool. But Fire Red and Leaf Green, there's a segment, there's a bit of dialogue and such that you get from some Team Rocket members there that foreshadows quite a bit. And not really just about the remakes, but just the Generation 2 in general, like Team Rocket's return and all of that. So anyway, aside from that, across all 7 islands, especially the second half, there's the Lost Cell quest with the Hypno in the forest, and yeah, Nightmare Fuel on that part. And there's also just a lot of Johto region Pokemon, because upon beating the story mode, coming back, going to 4 Island, gaining access to 4 islands, you get the National Pokedex, and yeah, 4 to 7 islands. Those have a lot of Johto region Pokemon, as does the area that I am about to visit. Now, because of that, in Fire Red and Leaf Green, you have to finish the Sevi Islands side quests and get the National Pokedex after beating the Pokemon League for the first time. In Red, Blue, Green, and Yellow, you only have to beat the Pokemon League for the first time to unlock what I'm about to do. One thing to note in this game, but not in the remakes, upon starting your file after beating the Pokemon League, you are not actually healed, so you have to go back inside your house, talk to your character's mother, and heal your team. Make sure you do that. And that's really the big... That's kind of an annoyance there, but anyway, that's taken care of. Real quickly, I should point out that my Pokemon aren't quite as leveled as they were last time, because bit of a goof on my part. I had to re-battle the Pokemon League because, again, goof on my part. Have a technical error more than anything, but yeah, so because of that, the team isn't as strong as they were at the end of the last episode, 43 to 45, compared to 44 to 46. Still decent enough, and we might be able to level up along the way. I also had to use more of my recovery items than what I originally did in that fight. So, whether you're playing the remakes or you're playing the originals, the first step of the process is to fly to Cerulean City. And from here, whether you go ahead and fly straight to Cerulean or not, your choice, but I definitely recommend preparing a bit. So, the main thing here, you notice there's a new item on the menu, Pokemon League. That shows your Hall of Fame data. That's only there after you've beaten the Pokemon League. And in later games, like Gen 3 onward, that option is actually labeled Hall of Fame. In later games, like Gen 4 on, it's consolidated to the Records option. And from there, your Hall of Fame data is one option, and a record of who you beat the game with first time through the story mode, that's also recorded. So, with that being said, what I actually want to do is withdraw some items. So you want to have some really strong Pokeballs. I'm going to take the Master Ball, and I have more than enough repels, so that's not a problem there. And going back through my inventory, I still have my Great Balls and Ultra Balls, more than enough repels, and that's that. So, what could we be about to do? That's it over there. That cave. During the story mode, there was a character, there was a boy standing in front of the entrance there. As I said earlier, in Gen 1, in red, blue, yellow, and green, to get the guy to move, you just have to beat the Pokemon League for the first time in the story mode, which I have done. In the remakes, first you have to go through the game, get the first half of the Sevi Islands done along the way, and then go back on your file, finish the other half of the Sevi Islands, and get the National Pokédex, and then come back here to Cerulean City. The procedure from there is the same. You just want to surf past the patch of grass by Nugget Bridge, come around the corner, and down this corner, and you're there. You can walk over here, and there is actually this path right through this way. Trainer you can fight if you want. Following this path will actually lead back to Mount Moon and Pewter City. But pretty nifty. trainer there. Why not? I came to get my mushroom Pokemon. She wants a Paris. So... she already has a Paris. Yeah. Pretty much every trainer you encounter at this point should not be a challenge. But the stuff that we're about to find in that cave, different story. It's the major post-game challenge outside of refighting the Elite Four. But yeah, Paris, we've seen it already. Bug and grass. And Parasect is the evolved form of Paris. Bug and grass as well. It's one of those that really isn't considered all that viable. Quad weak to fire being it. Quad weak to fire, quad weak to flying. Major weaknesses there. Especially because flying and fire are pretty common types. More so, depending on which generation. But anyway, with that little diversion out of the way, we want to enter the cave, and here we are. This is Cerulean Cave. And so in Fire Red and Leaf Green, the requirements are a bit stricter to get in here because this is one of the post-game areas, the others being various parts of the Sevi Islands, 4 to 7 Island, most notably. Johto Pokemon appear here. But, save for the Johto Pokemon, the encounter rates between this game and the remakes are the same. So, no honorable mentions. If you didn't want to deal with the trouble of the Safari Zone, you have that same 1% chance of finding Chansey in this area. Save for that, pretty much any encounter in the caves, Rhydon, Geodude, Choke, Graveler, yeah, pretty much familiar faces, and then water encounters, just high-level water types, and this cave has multiple floors, and a lot of items spread out, and this area is actually a bit of a maze, even more so because to access it, you of course need to have Surf and as a field move, but upon getting inside, you're gonna need Surf and Strength for sure. Off the top of my head, you might need Flash, but I can't remember. But in any case, yeah, I'm not going off of a map, and I really don't have this area memorized, so yay! Aside from the Pokemon types, the levels. The Pokemon in this area are stronger than the Elite Four. No joke. Be prepared to find Pokemon in the 60s in terms of level. So, yeah, that's pretty bad already. What makes this area even more annoying in the remakes? Wobbuffet is among the Pokemon you can find here. Yeah, remember what I said about Diglett's Cave with Diglett's Dugtrios and their Arena Trap ability? Wobbuffet has the Shadow Tag ability, which is the exact same thing. You cannot flee from battle. And Wobbuffet is a Pokemon that has a lot of health and defenses. So, yeah, it doesn't give out a lot of experience, so it's more of a real roadblock than anything. And... oh, jeez. Yeah. So, maybe I could... actually leave. So the whole point to this place is what's at the end of the dungeon. And yes, yeah, that's really all there's to it. This is the final challenge, and not a lot else I can really say. So I will make sure to put up a rappel as needed, and I'll see you guys at the end. I just want to jump back in for a moment. Apparently the levels weren't as high as I thought they were. I was only level 46 gold at. So maybe I was just remembering it wrong. In any case, the wild Pokemon's levels are higher here than they are of any other area. So this isn't too bad of a training spot, at least in Gen 1. In Gen 3, you have the Versa Seeker, which is so much better. Anyway, onward. Okay, now you're talking. Yeah. You know. I'm gonna try to catch this, actually. Minimize. There's a move we haven't seen all that much. Raises evasiveness. That's kind of a lucky encounter. Let's hope that's a good sign of things to come. I'm just calling it right now. I might as well go ahead and use my Great Balls here because they're going to be useless against what's at the end of the dungeon. And if this were Gen 3 onward, or probably even Gen 2 onward, wouldn't be the case. So yeah, might as well get some use out of them. Double Edge. Chansey's main draw is that it has a lot of health and special defense. Although in this game, that's just special. It has a high HP stat and a high special stat. actually makes it a better wall than Snorlax. Yes! Chansey was caught! And not in the Safari Zone, so I probably don't have all that much to brag about. Yeah, rare and elusive Pokemon, and if you're actually playing the remakes, there's that small chance that Chansey is equipped with the Lucky Egg, which is an item that boosts the experience gained in battle by 1.5 times. Alright, so back to dungeon hunting, or exploring. A second Chansey? Wow. Chansey is supposed to be the hardest Pokemon to find in this area. Okay, I'll take it. I already caught one, but... hey, highest experience yield of all Pokemon in Generation 1. I am in no way disappointed by that. Chansey has pretty poor physical defense, so yeah. And since you use Minimize, if Stomp hits, it's gonna do double damage. Whittled down by the burn. Extra damage. Hey, first time that's happened. Just Ember, play it safe. Light screen's already active, so spamming that's gonna do nothing for you. You're gonna fall to your own double edge. Now the burn's gonna take you down. Not quite. Fire spin, nah. Minimize again? Okay. You're falling to the burn. And not enough for a level up. Oh well. Continue. tidbit about this area. In red, blue, yellow, and green, as well as fire red and leaf green, you get to this area and you can clearly see that there is a Pokémon standing in front of us. But in gold, silver, and crystal, there is no Pokémon, but there is an item known as the Berserk Gene. But in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, you come here and there is a Pokémon, just as in Gen 1 and its remakes. So, once I finish healing my team here, I'll go over this kinda... Yeah, along the way I'm showing how badly I got beat up. I mean, jeez. So yeah, as I'm healing my team, the level distribution. 46 went back when we were just starting in this cave to level 64 Raichu. So yeah, it kind of contradicts a little bit of what I was saying before, but again, my memory on this area is quite hazy. So yeah, you've got that wide of a level range, going from mid-40s to mid-60s, having out of a 20 level gap. You get to the bottom of the cave, and what could possibly top that? What could possibly top level 64 Raichus and all that other stuff? Well, the presence of Wild Ditto in this cave should tip you off, but if that still wasn't enough... This is Mewtwo, the genetic Pokemon level 70 Psychic type. He is the strongest Pokemon in Generation 1, but the introduction of Dark types to the game, as well as a competent programming team, Mewtwo isn't the powerhouse that he was here. Gen 3, the overhaul of how stats work and everything. Yeah, Mewtwo is still among the stronger psychic types in the series, but he is not nearly as OP as he was back. He So what I want to do is go for Super Fang to try and get his HP down a bit. Or not. Okay, critical. Yeah, in Gen 1, critical hits were determined by the speed stat of your Pokemon. So... go for a Blizzard, I suppose? Yeah, Mewtwo's moveset is Swift, Recover, Psychic, and... one other move. Yeah, Barrier, that's the one. So, Barrier to raise his defense. Swift for damage. Psychic for damage. And Recover when he gets low on health. So, naturally, we've got a bit of a fight on our hands here. First and foremost, I want to try weakening him. Okay, there's the first instance of Recover. Critical. A Recover already? Okay. Yeah, another thing with Swift is it never misses. 60 base power, normal type attack. Never misses the target. Okay, Psychic is probably gonna take a meal down. Which is unfortunate, actually. Although, if I can be crafty here, I can be somewhat strategic. Fire Spin. Okay, now you're just a pansy. Fire Spin, so you can't move for a little while. Chip damage, although you're probably going to recover that off, so... But... really, in Gen 1, fights like this, your tactic had to involve doing damage and, there we go, inflicting a status condition of some kind, and then whittling their HP down. Because otherwise, the Pokeballs simply did not work. It was Gen 2 that fixed that. I don't know why they thought that was a smart programming tactic, however you want to word it. In any case, he's burned, so he's going to be losing damage between turns. Ideally, with any legend fight or stationary battle like this, you want to inflict a status condition, because that makes them a little easier to catch. Fire Spin, I'm just using it to hopefully chip them down a little. But yeah, you want to lower their health a bit, and you want to try and inflict a status condition. In Gen 1, you absolutely have to inflict them with a status condition, otherwise you're just wasting your time. That's why most people just sprung their Master Ball on Mewtwo, because it was the only guaranteed way of catching him. It's really annoying. So, in any case, hey. Yeah, Mewtwo is more of a special attacker, so Swift really isn't the best choice of attack. That isn't to say it's bad. I mean, if you're playing against someone who's spamming double teams, yeah, you want to have an answer. From here, I'm just really all I'm trying to do is just kind of tap him down a bit, because that burn is actually taking bit of health off each turn. So, oh, critical. Felt that one. Okay, this is kind of annoying. The fact that he has recover, yeah, makes the fight even more annoying than some of the other legendary fights. Basically, any time a legendary Pokemon has some kind of recovery move, more often than not, the AI is just going to spam it to troll you. So I will be equally trollish. Try using Flash a few times. And then from there, we'll start attacking with Psychic and Side Beam. Okay. A little bit of backstory about Mewtwo. We had some of the stuff that we've read in the Pokemon Mansion, coupled with some things that various NPCs have told us. Mewtwo is actually a man-made Pokemon, made from the DNA of Mew. Or rather, as this game would lead you to believe, they took a newborn Mew and did all kinds of genetic experiments on it. And it was through those experiments that Mewtwo became the Pokemon that he is here. Bit of a departure between that and some other official media. And so, for example, in the manga, he was created and part of Blaine's DNA was used in the creation of Mewtwo. So, the two of them have some kind of like a psychic link. Literally a psychic link. And because of that, they end up using that to detect when Mewtwo is nearby. It's pretty interesting. And aside from in the anime, we find out that Team Rocket was actually behind Mewtwo's creation. More or less what it was, and I think Origins touched on this, other source material touched on this. More than anything, Giovanni funded the whole project, so it was really thanks to Giovanni why Mewtwo exists and why Mewtwo is as strong as he actually becomes. Naturally, things went a little too far. Of course, in the anime, at least after the events of the first movie, really all he's looking for, he's just really trying to search for a reason to exist, just pondering why, and it's really weird, but that isn't to say it's bad by any means. I'm just really, I am out of things to say. Okay. You're in yellow health, that's a good starting point. So, So an explanation. If Mewtwo was not burned, it doesn't matter if Mewtwo was in yellow health. That Great Ball would not have worked, and the text would have said, "You missed the Pokemon." I would have had to use an Ultra Ball on it, with it being in yellow health, but no status condition for it to actually have a chance of working. The Master Ball works no matter what. Okay, so I have caught Mewtwo in a Great Ball. I will take that. Wow, those 2 Chanseys on the way here. That was definitely a sign. And the signs point to me having the genetic Pokemon Mewtwo. Number 150, 6'7", 269 pounds. It was created by a scientist after years of horrific gene splicing and DNA engineering experiments. So going back to the Pokemon Mansion, the Pokemon Mansion is supposedly the lab where Mewtwo was created and experimented on, and when he escaped, he destroyed that lab, and the place was never cleaned up or rebuilt, but instead, Pokemon bandits came in there, and they just went looking for treasure and whatnot, but Mewtwo ended up finding his way to Cerulean Cave, and word got out of this almighty Pokemon hiding within the cave, and it falls to your character to go and look into these rumors and find out that this almighty Pokemon is Mewtwo. So with that, we have ourselves Mewtwo. And again, if this was gold, silver, or crystal, in Mewtwo's place would be the Berserk Gene item. So with having Mewtwo caught and having one worn out set of Pokemon, what do you say we get out of this place? Use an escape rope just to make a quick getaway. That was certainly fun. So back in Pallet Town, since that's actually the last place I healed, what better way to end the series off than by starting where we began, huh? So that's